Hey everyone, welcome to Yoga with Maria. I'm Maria, and today I've got a practice for the psoas muscle for you. So we're going to strengthen that part of the body as well as release and open it. So grab your mat, grab 2 blocks today, and let's get started. Alrighty yogis, come to your mat. You're going to place 1 block kind of halfway down your mat and 1 block towards the back of your mat. Go ahead and come to lay down to start. So bend the knees, catch behind the knees, and roll yourself onto your back. And then extend the legs long. Actually, just kidding. Keep the knees bent, keep the feet on the mat just for a moment. You're gonna lift the hips up just enough to slide your right arm behind the back. So the palm's gonna face down and then lower. You want the forearm to kind of be in line with the bottom edge of your ribs. And then you can extend the legs long. The left arm can just hang out by the side. And we're going to just tune into our breath for about 5 cycles of breath here. Just noticing, so we're working on with the psoas muscle today, and this muscle connects all the way up, attaches to the spine right below, right where the diaphragm is, and right kind of at the low ribs. So by putting a little barrier at this area in our back with our arms, we can start to notice the attachment, start to notice where we can find some ease. So one of the things with the psoas muscle, if it's really tight or really tense, or if it's like overly, stretched and not strengthened enough, it can affect our breathing a lot. So we're just taking a moment here to tune into the breath. And then I'll have you bend your knees again, soles of the feet come to the mat, lift the hips just enough and remove that arm. And we're gonna slide the left arm underneath in the same place. But since we can't make it in exactly straight line, we want to do both sides, and this is also a little bit of a shoulder stretch as well. Extend the legs long, right arm hangs out by the side. Make sure you've got the forearm just kind of right at the low ribs here. Then just keep with this really nice, easy, steady breath. There's no need to breathe in any special way. You don't have to take huge breaths. This is more of a really subtle kind of piece of the practice. So it's a little bit meditative, just a little bit of time here to tune into the body. Yeah, and if the eyes naturally kind of fall closed for this, that's fine. If they don't, that's okay too. And then bend your knees once again, lift the hips up just enough to remove that left arm. And then take your block that's kind of midway down your mat. You're gonna lift the hips back up and place the block on let's take the second setting, if it's okay for you, underneath the sacrum. If this is too much, you can take it on the lowest setting. The feet are still gonna be hip width distance. And then the arms can come down by the sides for now. Lift your right knee up and then take your right hand to the top of the thigh. Create some pressure here. So the leg's gonna press into the hand presses back into the leg. Keep breathing here. Try not to, just because you're engaging the muscles, make a point to breathe through this, to continue breathing. Don't hold the breath. 1 more cycle here. Really push hand into leg, leg into hand. Breathing in. Breathing out, release the leg all the way long so the leg comes as straight as possible. The heel comes away from the body. So you could just keep the left knee bent. Continue with the breath. And then bend the knee and step the foot back down to the mat. Left knee comes in towards you. Left hand comes to the top of the left thigh. Leg presses into hand. Hand presses back into the leg. So we're strengthening and activating the psoas muscle using a technique where we engage the muscle. So take another, keep breathing, and then release. Left leg goes long and we allow the muscle to relax and release. So the left hand can relax. Try not to activate the leg in any way here. And then bend the left knee, take the foot to the mat and lift the hips up, lower the hips back to the mat, or the sacrum back to the mat. The block can just stay by the side, and then reach the legs long. Arms reach up and overhead, Tadagi Mudra. Reaching the hands as far as you can above the head, and the toes reach in the opposite way, almost like a nice morning stretch. And then release this, bend the knees once again, just so that you can roll or let the knees fall to one side and press yourself up to hands and knees. So we're gonna move this block that's in the middle up to the front of the mat, and then you got your block at the back of the mat as well. So find just a classic hands and knees. The shoulders are gonna stack over the wrists, the hips over the knees. Let's start with a few cat-cow. So on your breath in, let the belly drop down, the chest reaches forward, chin lifts. Exhale, press into the tops of the feet and the hands, puff up the back and let the head fall heavy. Let's take 2 more rounds like this, breathing in. Breathing out. Use the whole breath for the whole movement if you can. Inhale for cow pose. Exhale for cat. Come back to neutral. And then from here, reach your right leg back behind you. And then bring the knee in towards the nose, and you're gonna step the foot forward between the hands. Walk your hands forward and let the hips sink forward as well. We're gonna find a little lazy Anjaneyasana here. So the torso is just gonna rest on the top of your right thigh. If the hands don't reach the floor, you've got a block up here to help you support or bring the floor to you. So let the hips sink, let the head fall. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, paying attention a little bit more to the internal state of the body and the mind and the heart here, the emotional body. Some of this work can kind of tap us into that space, so just know that that's a possibility. And then come to the fingertips, lift yourself up just a bit here and shift the hips back into a half split or a half Hanumanasana. There's no need to force this leg straight. You can have a little softness in the knee here. Otherwise, take the hands forward, breathe in, lengthen the sides of the waist, and then take a little fold here over the right leg. And then from here, right hand comes inside the right foot. Walk the hands just a little diagonal here, and you're gonna shift your left shin so that the foot points back behind you. Keep walking the hands, so now you've got the hands right in front of this left knee. Use the belly and come to stand on the left knee. Right hand slides down the right leg, or you can take it to the hip here, and then the left arm's gonna reach up and over for Parigasana gate pose. Yeah, you'll feel that opening in this whole side of the body. Kind of activates some of the intercostal muscles, but also the psoas that runs like right through the inner hip and in this area. The gaze can go over to the left. Breathing in, breathing out. And then come to T the arms, and this time your right knee is gonna come down next to your left. I'm gonna turn to the side here. You can stay in whatever orientation works for you. Knees come right underneath the hips, tuck the toes, and take the hands to the low back. Fingertips press down, and then elbows reach back behind you. Wiggle the sides of the waist long. Breathe in here as you lift the sternum up. There's a little activation in the low belly, just to protect the low back so we don't have the huge crunch in the low back. But this is just a baby camel pose, a baby Ustrasana. Lift the chin here. On your exhale, come back to neutral and release the hands. You're gonna come back to hands and knees. Reach your left foot back behind you, and then take the knee towards the nose on the exhale and step the foot forward between the hands. Go ahead and walk the hands forward and let the hips shift with you. Yeah, and so the hands come to the mat, framing the front foot. Let the torso just rest on the top of that left leg and let the head fall heavy. Continue to tune into the breath. Very nice. From here, come to the pads of the fingers, and you're just gonna shift the hips back into a half split here. Yeah, so the left leg extends any amount. No strain in the hamstring, no strain. And then you'll just wiggle the sides of the waist long and take a little fold over the leg. Keep it easy, keep it light. Most importantly, stay with the breath. Keep tuning into that kind of area on the back that we placed our arm. Good, and then look forward a bit and take your left hand inside the left foot. You're gonna walk your hands kind of halfway and then begin to turn this right shin behind you. Yeah, you can kind of lift up the knee if you need. Keep walking the hands over. And then come to the finger pads. Use the belly a little bit to lift yourself up. Good. Left hand comes to the left hip or slides down the left leg. Right arm reaches up and over Parigasana gate pose. Other side. Feel that nice opening in the right side of the body, and maybe you look over to the right. Breathing in. Breathing out. Yeah, pull this, or like reinsert the upper right arm bone back into the socket. Breathing in. I can really feel the opening in the psoas on the side. Oh, yeah. And tee the arms, come back, and bring your left knee down next to your right. Again, I'm going to turn to the side. Tuck your toes behind you. Make sure the knees have a little space between them. They're hip width distance. Not so much though. And then hands come to the low back, fingertips point down, elbows reach back. Breathe in to wiggle the sides of the waist long. Begin to lift the sternum, chin lifts. Exhale here. Breathing in. Breathing out, come to neutral and take the hands back down to the mat. This time we'll tuck the toes and find a downward facing dog. Go ahead right away and pedal out the feet. You might be feeling this the most in the calf muscles, maybe the hamstrings. Let the head fall heavy and shake the head no. Open and close the mouth a few times. Really nice. Breathe in and lift your right leg up and back behind you. Breathe out, take the knee forward and step the foot between the hands. This time you're gonna spin the back heel down. Inhale, reach the arms to the sides and up, warrior one. Hands touch overhead. See the thumbs overhead, hands press. Soften into your front knee as you press into the outer back foot and wiggle the sides of the waist long. Keep reaching the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Breathing in. Breathing out, hands come to the mat. Find a low lunge, flip up your back heel. And then walk the hands. We're just going to keep the knees bent. We're going to walk our hands all the way to the back. Find a low lunge once again. Look back and spin your back heel down. This time the heels can be a little bit more in line with one another. Take the block, place it outside your left foot and place your left hand on the block. Yeah, keep a nice bend in that left knee. Right arm reaches up and over the ear. So we want a nice wide stance here. The pinky finger can turn down a little bit and the gaze will come up and underneath the armpit. Stay with your breath. Breathing in. Breathing out. Both sides of the waist are long. Breathing in. Breathing out. Circle the hand down to the mat. Remove the block to the side. Soft bend in the knees. Come back through center and find a low lunge here. Breathe in and find a down dog split. Breathe out, bend the knee and open the hip. Yeah. And then straighten out the leg, breathe in. Breathe out, the knee comes forward outside the right wrist into a pigeon pose or a pigeon shape. So tuck your left toes behind you and shimmy that left knee backwards a little bit, and the left leg's gonna stay super long. You can have a nice crease in the right leg. Let the right hip sink down towards the floor. If the right hip doesn't reach the floor at all, you can put a block underneath the hip, or you can place a blanket or a pillow there. We're gonna stay mostly uplifted, but we're gonna take the hands a little bit forward. Come to the pads of the fingers, or if it feels better to take the hands to the mat for a little bit more grounding there, you can. And breathe. One more cycle of breath here, in and out. Plant the hands down, tuck your left toes and lift your back knee, and just step back to downward facing dog. Take a couple pedals of the feet here. Yeah. And then breathe in and lift your left leg up. Breathe out, step the foot forward between the hands and your back heel spins down. So you're on more of a railroad track here. Heels are separated, not on a tightrope. And then arms reach to the sides and up, warrior one. See the hands press overhead. Wiggle the sides of the waist long. Keep pressing into the outer edge of the back foot as you kind of sink more into the front knee. Keep reaching the fingertips up. Breathing in. Breathing out, return the hands to the mat. And then keep the knees bent as you walk your way to the middle and all the way to the back of the mat. Right foot is in front now. Spin your left heel down. This time heels are gonna be a little bit closer in line, more like the tightrope thing. If that feels really constraining to you, separate them, you know, like a skinny railroad. Right hand comes to the block outside the foot. Left arm reaches up and over the ear. Yeah, nice wide stance here. And then feel this long line of energy from the left fingertips all the way to the outer edge of the left pinky toe. The gaze can follow if there's no strain in the neck. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out, circle left hand down to the mat. Keep a nice soft bend in the knees. Come through center and come back to the front. You're at a low lunge. Back at the front of the mat. Take a down dog split. Breathe in, left leg lifts. Breathe out, bend the knee and open the hip. Inhale, straighten the leg. Really reach the toes up and away from the torso. And then bring the left knee forward outside the left wrist. Sink the hips down. Keep that right toe tucked just so that you can kind of scoot that right knee back a little bit. Untuck the toes. Walk the hands a little forward. So this is a pigeon pose on the other side. Keep the pads of the fingers tented here, the pads of the fingers down. Maybe you take the palms to the mat, but stay lifted for this one. Same thing here. If you want to or need to prop up the left hip, if it's really far off the mat, do that with a block or a pillow from the couch, maybe a pillow from bed. And then tune into the breath. One more cycle here, in and out. Hands to the mat, tuck your back toes and lift your back knee. Lift the hips up and step to downward facing dog. Bring the knees to the mat and cross the ankles, come to sit down. Take both blocks and bring them kind of to the center of the mat. Just a few more things here. We're gonna lay back down on our backs, kind of nice. Grab behind the knees and slowly roll to the back. And then make sure the feet are hip width distance. Again here, pick up one block on the lowest, flattest setting. Lift the hips and place the block underneath the sacrum. So a supported bridge pose. There should be a little bit of an element of like the vital organs of the pelvis, because it's something about the gravity and the support of the block underneath that it feels like those organs can really drop. And by drop, I mean like relax, and there's a little bit of a release happens. So if you notice that, just let it be. And then we're gonna add another block. On the lowest, flattest setting underneath the sacrum, you're gonna have to adjust a little bit here, probably moving the blocks a little bit closer towards the head to get them underneath the sacrum and feel stable. If 2 blocks is too much, just stay with 1. So we're in this supported bridge. Lift your right knee up and then pull the heel towards the seat. And then you're gonna bring the knee even further towards the face so that the right hand can catch the right ankle. And then the knee is gonna come over and down, kind of like a rainbow shape. You're gonna take the top of your right foot and place it to the mat. Ideally, you're placing it outside the outer edge of the right block. But if that's not available, you can take the top of the foot a little bit closer to the left foot or further away from the hips. So this is a half virasana, a supported half virasana here. And then just relax here. Let the knee fall heavy towards the mat without pushing it, just letting gravity do its job. Take the right hand to the outer edge of the right ankle. You're gonna pull that heel in towards the seat as you bring your knee up, and then release the foot and step the foot down. So this is really important, work these little steps in between because we don't want to tweak the knee at all. So hug the left knee into the chest, pull the heel towards the seat. So you've got a little muscular activation. Pull the knee a little bit closer so you can catch the ankle, point the toe, and then the knee comes back up and over like a little arc, and the top of the left foot comes to rest, ideally outside of the left side of the block or blocks. But if you need to move the toe a little bit further away, that's totally fine as well. And then the hands can relax and just breathe. You should feel the opening and the front of the leg here. Take the left hand back to the left ankle, pull the heel towards the seat, and then lift the knee. Release the ankle and step the foot to the mat. Lift the hips up, remove one block, scoot that single block down towards the sacrum. You're gonna have to scoot it back down towards the heels. If you're just on one block, you can go ahead and just remove it and bring the sacrum to the ground. And if you're on one block still, lift the hips just a bit to remove it, slide it out, take the sacrum to the mat. Heel toe the feet a little bit wider than the hips and let the knees knock in. Take the hands to this low belly region. And we're just breathing here. We're just hanging out. Letting the back come back to a neutral position. It's finding its natural curves, returning. Heel toe the feet so that they're hip width distance, and then you can just windshield wiper the feet or the knees a few times, going back and forth. Can be a nice little massage for the outer hip. Very nice. Come to center and extend the legs long. Let's take the arms by the sides, palms face up, finding a Shavasana position here. Can you let the whole belly go slack? Can you let the legs completely release? Unclench the jaw, soften the eyes. Let yourself completely soften here. Gently bring your attention back to the breath, just without changing it at all. Bring little movements to the fingers and the toes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Yoga for the Psoas muscle. Namaste, yogis. See you soon. In our yoga practices, it's always good to take some time to target specific areas. At the same time, the whole body is connected. And so if you're feeling tight in one area, you might also have some tightness or held tension in areas nearby. So I recommend up next, what you practice is my hips slow flow video right here on YouTube. Give it a watch and see how you feel.